Tamboy Queen Cruises welcomes you to Port Stevens, and so do I, specifically Nelson Bay here in Port Stevens. And I thought this would be a great spot to start my walk and talk of this beautiful, beautiful little city here in Port Stevens in New South Wales. And there you can see you can do dolphin and whale watch cruises and private and fishing charters. So I decided that I was going to wake up this morning and do a walk and talk here in beautiful Port Stevens. Now, this is not the first time that I've been to Port Stevens, I must confess. I've been here before, but the last time I came to Port Stevens, it was on a bit of a whirlwind tour. I had a wonderful lady named Denise and her wonderful partner named Graham, who wanted to try to fit everything into one day, including a camel ride on a beach not too far from here. And we actually came here at the end of the day and had ourselves a nice dinner in one of the restaurants that I'm going to walk past here shortly. But I thought that I would do a little bit of a walk and talk here on this beautiful autumn morning, and it is a beautiful autumn morning. The weather is probably in I don't know, the upper 50s, maybe it's in the low 60s, but regardless, it is just a postcard picture perfect day. And I'm just going to do a little walk through the harbor here, and maybe into the town if I'm able to, and bring you along. And I'm actually going to step down off of the sidewalk here and walk along the beach. So I can't imagine that this will be too long of a walk and talk, and maybe I can do the whole thing in one shoot if I'm fortunate enough. But these boats here, you can see over there, there's a whale and dolphin cruise, which probably belongs to the sign that I was just showing you, the company that owns the sign that I was just showing you here. But not a lot of these whale and dolphin cruises are going out at the moment because of the unfortunate situation with the global COVID-19 pandemic. But regardless, it still gives me an opportunity to share this with you. It would certainly be nice to be able to take you out on a whale or a dolphin touring cruise, but perhaps in another video, another trip to Australia. But as the saying goes, we'll see, because they're trying to ease up on the restrictions down here in the land down under, as they are in many countries that are dealing with this unfortunate global pandemic that we're facing. But we will see, as the saying goes. Now, as I'm walking here in the sand I'm actually sinking in 3 or 4 inches. So it's kind of an interesting walk and talks, to say the very, very least. But look at how beautiful this is. Just absolutely gorgeous. And if you look, that boat right over there, if you can see it, I don't know if I can actually zoom in on it, but it's got a slide going off at the end, if you can see that. So they must go out there, and you can just go right off that slide, maybe swim with dolphins. So I've been on some whale cruises before, usually off the coast of California, the city that I love, which is the Monterey Bay, or Monterey, which is in the Monterey Bay and on the Monterey Bay Peninsula. And then just up here they actually have a playground that is not available right now for the children to play upon. They have that actually roped off, as they do playgrounds all around the world. But it is a beautiful playground. All the cities here in Australia, it really doesn't matter where you travel, where you're traveling through. I think I know the states here. You have Queensland, and you have New South Wales, and you have the ACT, which I think is the Australian Central Territory. And you have Victoria, you have South Australia, and then you have, from South Australia, you would have Western Australia. then you can't forget the northern, I think it's the Northern Territory, and Victoria. I'm not sure if I said Victoria. And of course you would have Tasmania, which is a place that I am really anxious to visit. But look at how beautiful this is, and look at that interesting boat that they have right over here. I don't know if I'll be able to actually share it with you, but I'm actually walking into the marina right now, and I've spent a little bit of time doing some flight drones or drone flights up around the marina here. And boy, what a beautiful spot. They have a whale tail right there. Isn't there a saying that I've got a whale of a tail? Something like that. And here's more information of what you can do if you're here in Port Stevens. You can jet ski hire, and you can do bike beach adventures on a ATV, and all that good stuff. And here they have that's where you could book your dolphin and whale cruise and what have you. I was hoping that I could actually walk out onto the dock, but I'm not able to. There's an interesting looking tour boat right there that'll take you out. What a beautiful morning. This really is a beautiful morning on a beautiful autumn day with a beautiful city. Here's another sculpture of a whale. You can see. And interestingly enough, I had heard a lot about Nelson Bay from some time back before this trip, and I was rather intrigued with Nelson Bay. And it's interesting that, having been here now for the better part of going on 3 months, I visited Nelson Bay in the early part of my trip, and I didn't necessarily expect that I would find myself back here. Not only did I expect that I would find myself back here on this trip, but in fact I found myself back here, and I may actually be staying a little while. We will see, as the saying goes once again. So look how pretty this is. What a beautiful morning. They actually have a wharf or a jetty just around the corner from here. And this is where you would see if I would walk up, you would actually see the town. And that might actually not be too bad of an idea. See if I can't just share a little bit of the town with you. It's a quiet morning, so I don't imagine that there's a whole heck of a lot of activity. And this would be the very same patio where the lovely Denise and her partner Graham and I shared a wonderful pizza. Can't remember what we got on the pizza, but I do remember it was a wonderful end to a fantastic day. Now, as I'm filming this, I woke up this morning to look and see what my options were for staying in this city for a prolonged period of time. As I'm filming this, today is I believe today is the 8th of May, 2020, and I have a ticket to leave Australia 1 week from today. In fact, 1 week from today, I very well may be sitting at an airport, at a gate at an airport, wondering if I have enough charge on my phone and iPad to watch movies for the 14-hour flight as I go back to America. But as I've already delayed one flight, I may very well delay the flight next week as well, as I've applied for a visa. And you see this lady here, she lets her dog run off to greet her friend's dog. no shortage of dog lovers here in the land down under. Here's a beautiful park that you can see. Good morning. Look at that. So I've shared some of this with you before on an earlier video. I just didn't have the time to saunter as I'm doing today. Saunter being a word that if I had a nickel for every time I heard my beloved father say that word, I could probably afford one of these waterfront properties here in Nelson. So this is, I don't know if this is necessarily Main Street per se, but it certainly seems like it as it comes right up from the Marina. Now, as I was saying about the departure on my flight, I actually use, when I travel, I will use miles or points. And like many people that have credit cards, you accumulate points with various things that you spend. Here is the Red Cross shop. I don't know if I've ever seen a Red Cross shop. Look at this. I would imagine it's kind of like a Salvation Army store or something. You have all types of, it seems like a Goodwill, some type of a Goodwill type of a store, a secondhand store. But as I was talking about the points, as we speak, I have the better part of 500,000 points. And I found myself this morning waking up and just doing a search to see what I could get in this beautiful little town, this sleepy little town, for points. And I found just a wonderful, wonderful apartment complex or resort. And I think it's called the Mantra. And it is unbelievably, for a one-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and the whole 9 yards, as the expression goes. Or maybe down here they say the whole, what would it be, the whole 3 meters? I don't know, it was 1 meter 3 yards or something like that. But anyway, so I may very well find myself renting an apartment right here in beautiful Nelson Bay. And we will see, as the saying goes. Now, interestingly enough, look at this. You've got a Red Ned's Gourmet Pie Bar, and they're actually open. I would think that they're open for breakfast. You come in and grab yourself a pie, a gourmet pie at that. And there you see, there's Red Ned, and I think that would be Ned Kelly, I think, if I'm not mistaken, who was the one of the famous characters in Australian folklore or history or what have you. Kind of like the Jesse James of Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But so now I'm going to take you down this street here. And then one of the interesting things about the land down under that takes a little bit of getting used to, one of my favorite places to shop for groceries is right here at this place called Woolworths. And I remember as a young boy growing up in the shores of Lake Erie outside of Cleveland, Ohio, I remember Woolworths was not a grocery store. It's kind of like a 5 and dime, if you will. But you can go in there and grab yourself a nice cup of coffee, such as I will do here in a little while. And then I actually need to find my way over to the Soap and Suds laundry service, which I hope will be opening up a little bit later. So I'm going to see if I can't somehow or another find my way back down to the back down to the Marina, and in doing so, find my way out to the pier. I'm looking to see if there's actually a spot just across the way that I can cut through, and I think I may have found one right here. I could always take a taxi over there, but that would be pointless because I don't think it's actually all that far to get over there. But I'm going to just go back the way that I came. See a woman coming with her groceries. It's actually a little community just across the water from Nelson Bay called Tea Garden, or Tea Gardens plural. And that is a rather nice community that I drove through the first time I found myself coming down into this neck of the woods, as you would say back in the United States. Now, I don't know if they have that expression, neck of the woods, here in Australia. Maybe they say this stretch of the bush. You know, maybe the Australians say this stretch of the bush, as opposed to this neck of the woods. You notice as I'm going through this town, you don't necessarily see a whole heck of a lot of graffiti in these towns. I'm sure that there are towns across this wonderful country that have no shortage of graffiti and misfits and what have you. But you don't see that here in Nelson Bay at all. There's a surf shop, which, you know, I think something like 80 or 90% of the population of Australia actually lives somewhere in close proximity to the water. And I've seen no shortage of water since I've been here. But I can't say that I've actually been in the water too often. I think the last time that I was actually in the water, I was in a place called Noosa Heads, Noosa, Noosa Heads, where they were having the World Dog Surfing Championship. And here, as I walk down the street on the 8th of May, that seems like that was so long ago, way back in, that would have been back in late February, after a week up at Airlie Beach in, what was that, near the Whitsundays. So, certainly has been a trip for the ages. I gotta tell you, when I started this trip, I never really imagined that I would find myself, or I'd find myself in a world that finds itself in a situation such as it does with this whole global pandemic thing. And never would I have imagined that I would have found myself down here watching the evening news from back home the following day that it's been broadcast, and just finding myself, more times than not, to be quite honest with you, feeling a little grateful that I am here and not there, as I show you this plant right here, which is rather interesting. It's on a rather large stalk, and I don't know if I can actually share the bloom with you or not. Perhaps I can. Let's see if I can't zoom in on that. There you go. Look at that. All right. So I'm finding my way back down to the marina. De Albora Marinas. Welcome to day Albora Marina. And I would imagine that there are probably some folk out on the jetty or the pier that are fishing, and we will see if I can't find my way down to that very spot and share it with you before I wrap up the video here. They have all types of businesses here at the marinas. They've got two buildings. They have a east building and a west building. And I'm walking past right now the Hog's Breath Cafe. It's known as Australia's steakhouse. There's actually quite a story behind the gentleman that started that chain of restaurants called the Hog's Breath. Sure are some very nice boats that are here. It would actually be nice to befriend somebody that had a boat and had the ability to maybe go out for a day and see some whales. Although, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually see whales right from the shore. Now, just up ahead you have the police boat, which is not something I would necessarily want to ride upon unless it was for some type of a friendly reason. But there is the police boat. Now, I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to find my way over to that jetty or not. Perhaps I will. There must be some type of a way to get through. I would imagine I could just go right down along through this area over here. Boy, what a beautiful spot. A beautiful spot on a beautiful day. I'm sure there are some of you out there that are watching some of these videos and would question my sanity if I opted to get on that plane next week as opposed to staying here. I think I mentioned it was 3,000 or 3,500 points a night, and with 500,000 points, I think it's fair to say that I could rent myself a nice little one-bedroom apartment for for the better part of 2 or 3 months if I really wanted to. Now, it looks like I'm coming up on the wharf. I see the wharf restaurant, and I would imagine that if you wanted to get yourself some nice seafood, that this would probably be the place. This place here, Bub's, the winner of the best fish and chips in New South Wales, right there. You see? So you could find yourself down here to Bub's, and today's a Friday, and you can get fish and chips for $10 from 4 to 6 here at Bub's. And look at that seafood platter starting from $45.90. Now, I don't know if you convert that to American dollars, but look at that platter right there. Isn't that something? That looks good, doesn't it, Mark? Mark up there in Michigan is probably licking his lips right now. All right. I think if I perhaps round the corner, I'll be able to find my way over to the jetty. Let's see if I can't do that. And sure enough, I see a gentleman with his fishing pole. And I don't know if he's coming or going, but we will We will see. I'm sure the people that have been watching my videos for years probably wish they had a nickel for every time they heard me say, "We will see." But here we go. And as I find myself walking down, I'm actually going to be walking right into the bright morning sun. And I don't know how that'll play on the camera or not. But here you can see as I walk along, there are no shortage of fishermen that come down here. And I think a lot of them are fishing for a fish called a garfish, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that particular fish just happens to be seasonal to this time of the year or not. Oh, what a spectacular morning. And there are some boats out on the water as I find my way out onto the, I think they call this a jetty or a pier. And here is the other side of the marina right here. Look at that. You can see all the traps that they've got set up. Kind of reminds me of a visit to another coastline not so long ago in the beautiful state of Maine in the beautiful country of the United States, where there had lots and lots of fish traps, crab traps, whatever is you might want to call them. But we've come just about full circle. I actually started this walk and talk going on 27 minutes and 18 seconds ago, just over on the other side of this water here. There you see a boat there with jet skis for hire. That's what you'll hear a lot of times down here and over in Europe. It'll be jet skis for hire, whereas opposed to many places where I'm from in the United States, it would be jet skis for rent. Just one of the small little differences between a place like Australia and a place like the United States. So I'm finding my way out, and the sun is actually quite bright, and I don't even know that you can see that with the glare off of the water. But when I get down toward the end and turn around, you'll be able to see some of the fishermen here. Hopefully the fish are biting. No shortage of fishermen. All right, so there's your walk and talk of Port Stevens. Filled in a 30-minute show without commercials. You know, if I really wanted to go the extra mile, I could make TV shows, and I'd probably, with 30 minutes of filming, I could probably get a full hour show with, 30 minutes of commercials. That would be an interesting thing. So this actually goes out for a while. I'm not going to walk out to the very, very end here, but you could. I did a drone shot this morning, and you'll be able to see the full jetty here. But it is, boy, it's beautiful. What a beautiful, beautiful spot. And now as I turn the camera and I find myself heading back, you'll actually be able to see the fishermen here. They actually use bobbers. Their lines are just, I out in the water on a bobber, waiting for the fish to bite. And I'd imagine that they're fishing for garfish. See, they bring their wagon. Oh, he's got one in there. Look at that. I don't know if you can you see that? Look at there. So he actually has he's got a fish that he caught. See if I can zoom in a little bit on that. I don't know what kind of fish it is, but there you go. There's your catch of the day, so to speak. Okay. I'm actually doing this zoom by hand. So at least somebody caught something. I think a lot of Italians in Australia. A lot of Italians had migrated here years back. So, all right, folks. So that's your walk and talk from beautiful Nelson Bay in New South Wales. I hope it was a nice opportunity for you to see how wonderful of a place this is. So, you guys fishing for garfish?
No, coach's boat.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, so there you go, folks. Have a wonderful day.